Now to our other big story tonight. The sentencing of the man behind one of the largest financial schemes in U.S. history. Former cryptocurrency billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried sentenced to 25 years in federal prison in order to pay $11 billion to compensate his victims. The 32-year-old was once the poster boy for the currency of the future, but is now facing the consequences of old-fashioned crime. Bankman-Fried was convicted in November of diverting billions of dollars of his customers' money to cover his losses in a separate and risky investment scheme. His lawyers argued for leniency, portraying him as a, quote, an awkward math nerd. But the judge said he hadn't heard a word of remorse from Bankman-Fried and said that 25 years would disable him from committing another fraud for a long time. We are standing by for legal analysis, but ABC's senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky leads us off from the courthouse tonight.
Just 2 years ago, FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried mingled with the rich and powerful, his company's name on sports arenas, ads in the Super Bowl.
It's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
I don't think so.
But tonight, the one-time king of crypto is off to federal prison for 25 years. Before he was sentenced today, Bankman-Fried apologized for his $11 billion fraud. I made a series of bad decisions, he said. It haunts me every day. But the judge not buying it, noting there was never a word of remorse for the commission of terrible crimes.
You just need FTX.
With celebrity endorsements and Bankman-Fried's guarantees money would be safe, FTX became the premier crypto exchange. It collapsed in late 2022 after Bankman-Fried used billions in FTX customer funds without permission to keep his privately controlled hedge fund, Alameda Research, afloat. At trial, prosecutors playing this ABC News interview.
So you do know, and you did know, that FTX deposits were being funneled to Alameda?
So I was vaguely aware that that was how some wires were being sent in the first place.
Didn't that set off alarm bells in your head?
So there are a lot of people who are involved in that process. And look, I really deeply wish that I had taken, like, a lot more responsibility for understanding what the details were of what was going on there.
In court today, one victim told the judge he lost money I wanted to spend on a family home. The judge saying he received more than 200 letters. A man with 2 young children writing, he lost everything. It was my life savings, and now I am left with nothing. The judge said he wanted Bankman-Fried in prison long enough so he cannot commit another fraud. Otherwise, there is a risk that this man will be in a position to do something very bad in the future, and it is not a trivial risk.
Aaron joins me now. And Aaron, we know that 25-year prison sentence is not the only punishment Bankman-Fried faces.
It's not, Phil. The judge has also ordered Bankman-Fried to forfeit $11 billion. He does not have that, but prosecutors can use assets they've already seized from Bankman-Fried to compensate some of the victims. Although, Phil, we've heard from a lot of those FTX customers, they're losing hope they'll ever be made whole. Phil?
Yeah. All right. Aaron Katersky from New York City tonight. Aaron, thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about this. ABC News legal contributor Kim Whaley joins me now. Kim, what did you make of this sentence and also what the judge said when he handed it down?
The sentence seems commensurate with the level of fraud here. People call it one of the biggest fraud scandals in history. A lot of people were hurt, $8 billion in losses for individuals. I mean, look, the scheme was people made these investments in crypto and he took that money and spent it on other things. It's pretty straightforward. The defense was, I mean, you know, he's autistic. He maybe wasn't really on top of everything. The judge didn't buy any of that, in part because the judge found or determined that he committed perjury, that he may have done some witness tampering prior to the trial, and that he was evasive on the stand. So that idea that he was not a risk to the public in going out and hobnobbing, maybe again with celebrities and billionaires, I think the judge didn't buy that and thought the public would be safer with him in prison for now 25 years, although he could get out earlier under the federal rules.
We're talking about roughly $10 billion. What about the efforts to claw back all that money?
Listen, this is widespread. There are a lot of lawyers in Washington and across the country that are working on this because he took some of the money, allegedly, and made political donations to both Democrats and Republicans. And so there's this, real effort sort of going all over trying to identify the trail of money and pull it back. And as you indicate, to pay back some of the victims. His lawyers in their filing around sentencing said that the victims would be made whole. The judge did not believe that. It doesn't really sort of make common sense. But at a minimum, they lost the ability to make additional money in the crypto industry where other people are making money. But I should say, Phil, too, I think this sentence is important because the crypto industry in general is not very well regulated. So something like this high-profile sentence sends a message to other people in that industry that, listen, we better really color between the lines and be extra careful because we don't want to end up in the same boat that Sam Bankman-Fried now is going to be in for a big part of his adult life.
Hey, Kim, I want to get your thoughts on this. Some are pointing to a disparity in sentencing lengths for white-collar crimes like this versus substance abuse crimes. What do you think? Do you think this warrants a larger conversation about sentencing lengths?
Absolutely, Phil. I mean, there's something sort of arbitrary about these sentences. We talk about them, we hear about them. There are some guidelines, but it's really subjective. So you could, do 3 petty crimes in certain parts of the country, and 3 strikes you're out and spend this amount of time in prison. You could engage in activity to feed an addiction or really to feed your family with less problems kind of for the broader public. White collar crimes, these financial crimes that happen with the highly wealthy don't tend to carry the kinds of sentences that many people, particularly people of color, are serving across the country. And so maybe this could start a larger conversation around the sensibility. Are we doing this for punitive reasons? Are we doing this for deterrence? Or do we not even know? So I think that part of it, hopefully this could trigger some of those conversations.
All right, Kim Willie, thanks for the analysis, as always.